Now bring in our international affairs editor, Armen, Georgian. Good afternoon, Armen.
Good afternoon, Delano.
Yesterday, we saw high-profile Republicans, including Mike Pence and Senator Mitch McConnell, defecting from Donald Trump, if you will. Whose party is the Republican Party now?
Yeah, I think that's the key question. I mean, for so long we've been saying, what is the Democratic Party? Is it the party of Bernie Sanders or the party of Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton? Now we've got this growing split within the Republican Party. I just want to quote you two statements that really put this in very stark relief, Delano. So we have Donald Trump Jr., the president's oldest son. He had this message to members of his party that won't fight for Donald Trump to the end. He says to them, this is not your Republican Party anymore. This is Donald Trump's Republican Party. Contrast that with the man that you mentioned, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. He said, if this election were overturned by mere allegations from the losing side, our democracy would enter a death spiral. We would never see the whole nation accept an election again. So Mitch McConnell and Republicans like him understand that losers' consent is one of the very few things left that still binds Americans together. If that goes, it's the end. I think the big question now for the traditionalists in the Republican Party, do they try to cut themselves off from the Trump base, which has now become a bit of a liability, to be honest. For a long time, they were a winning proposition, weren't they? Because, of course, Trump beat Hillary Clinton against all the expectations. They even picked up some seats in the midterm elections in 2018, the Republicans did. Then, but now, Trump, of course, lost the presidential election. He became a one-term president, which is unusual. The Republicans lost the Senate because of Georgia, what happened in Georgia. Again, entirely preventable loss if Trump had just got out of the way in the last couple of days, the crucial days of the campaigning in Georgia. So the Trumpism has become a liability. So I think the question is, can the kind of more traditional Republican wing, can they cut themselves off? I would say not completely, because that base, the Trump base, although demographically it's shrinking, if you look at demographic analyses, the white working class rural voters, they are shrinking as a share of the population, but it will still be an important part of any future appeal to the Republican Party. But what the traditionalists really have to push for the party to do is to find a better way to engage with America's increasing diversity, as well as with African American voters that propelled the Democratic victory in Georgia, both in the presidential election and in this Senate runoff. So there's a big soul-searching really to come in the Republican Party now.
Armen, every time we have an incoming president, they say they want to heal divisions and unite the country. Joe Biden has said just that, but we've never witnessed scenes we witnessed at the U.S. Capitol where supporters or rioters, domestic terrorists, whatever you want to call them, stormed the Capitol, sort of egged on by the president in office.
Yeah. I mean, I think, anyone at this stage, whether it's a Republican or Democratic president, whatever they do, they're going to be called divisive by the other side. It's just par for the course because America is so polarized. But I think what's going to happen now, given that the big game changer now as a result of the Georgia election, Delano, is that Democrats now have unified control of the American government. They have now the Senate. They had the House already. They're going to have the White House very soon. So that means they're going to push through the Biden-Harris agenda. That's going to contain some very unpalatable things to conservatives, particularly on healthcare and the environment. But it actually goes beyond that. I think what the right also really fears, the thing that comes with democratic control of government, of the different branches, is actually the whole cultural agenda as well. So, everything to do with race relations, freedom of speech on campuses, cancel culture, transgenderism, all these things are going to be very much part of very bitter culture wars in the next 4 years. And we're going to see plenty of accusations of either side against the other of stoking more division.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting 2 weeks, isn't it? Armen, thank you very much for that, Armen Georgian, man.